Hey guys, welcome back. It's CloPlaysGames. We're continuing through Zachary because I have been going through a mental health crisis these last few years, dealing with a lot of family and life stuff. And sorry, there's music in the background, but this playthrough is half-assed anyway. I'm listening to Kanye. I just am in a weird mood. But I'm replaying or catching up on some parts of Zachary because I had this playthrough was content and I lost it, and some of the videos or stuff like that you'll hear me talking about it because there were some issues with my laptop. So I'm going through trying to catch up, and then me and my friend who were playing this game got behind because we were playing it, and then I lost some of the parts, and then I was having some mental health issues, and then me and her were trying to remember where we're at, and we're like, oh, we're in Zachary, and so there's two different return to the letter that's in Zachary because we didn't remember where we are at, and now that I'm going back and actually diligently trying to edit and get things updated, I'm like, oh wait, we're actually in Rebecca. So anyway, we're gonna go through this playthrough. We might do some more future playthroughs, but I don't know if it's a future. I don't know if this is super popular. So I need to make some content with stuff that's more popular to help my channel and other stuff because I need to find something that's more equitable in the future. But I do enjoy doing content creation. I feel like if I was a heiress or millionaire or whatever else, I'd still like doing this because I like content creation and gaming. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching and supporting, and if you comment, subscribe, and just uplift me in small ways, I appreciate you. Where were... Okay, so this part...
I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him if the way he falls silent after his telling. I'm just going to keep going from here. From where the letter returns. Because I don't really honestly remember. Where we left off in Zachary's chapter is a little messed up. So I'm just going to continue through here. Post the ones I do have. And then we'll take up on Rebecca. Finish this playthrough. Maybe we'll do a new one in the future. But I don't know. But whatever his opinion is stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
You shouldn't push it if she's sensitive.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
They put all this money into voice... What do you call it? Voice something. The game. I can't think of the word. And they couldn't bother to have the narration parts voice acted, so I don't have to read it.
Look who's
I'm
talking.
so lazy.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in. For several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxburn rouses. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of nearby shops, preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nonetheless. What comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in light of the last night. And only forgetting is as easy as breathing. Oh, if only forgetting. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghost hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm. Instead, I pick it up, the sterile odor castles equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I've spent minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just routine, a way to starve off the unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit, regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Bro, I get it. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are more things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
Oops. Isabella and me are cool. She answered the question with a long, drawn-out yawn. One reminiscent of a child. A chuckle managed to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for his investigations, or Rebecca needs for her own work, but it's certainly enough to definitely put what she sees around her on a canvas. And if the way her eyes flickers to the table and my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be.
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtly, I can't say the word right. Subtlety has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at loss for words at that. If she has left it up to me whether I'll ever give her the response she wants to hear or not. Okay, what did I do? I've been a little extra snarky these days, and it's lost me a lot of Twitter followers, which is kind of funny, because usually I'm really, really nice. But when people are rude to me online, I either ignore it or I'm like rude back. So it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be, not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence. Can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close to my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will, no, never to the full extent. That alone, expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the counter when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of needs that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her words, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth. Of Ma and Pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what is left in me that day. I I can't recall most of it now. My own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hit the floor, motionless, his life blood flowing out from under him. And the gunman, he was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there and lent her ears and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgments in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to get the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me. A bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it's still her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I am even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it's obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew! Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected.
Oops. What did I just do? I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our, what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons. But this is something personal. I understand why you rather have a few people know. That too, and well, there's past weeks I haven't been easy for you. Just want to add to that after last night. Can I go back? I wish they had a rewind button. After something passes her face, briefly fleeting, and it disappears right before I can recognize it.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone and knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more than her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know too well with her. I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I'd never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about happiest people when angered? You guys, I'm like Becca, if she's like her, or whoever he's talking about. I'm like the nicest person in the world, but if you piss me off, I'm like the biggest bitch in the world. Besides, it'd be unfair to hear her out after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seemed relieved at the brisk change of subject, as if it'd been simply waiting for its cue all this time. Her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabel's or Rebecca's apartment. Sometimes Ash, although most coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did come all back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call. Knock, knock, knock.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
She already knows.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when my eyes take away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he's broken can attest to that. Zach, I'm sorry to break this to you, but Ash is a really bad friend. Like a really, really bad friend. He eats your food, he breaks into your house, he's kind of a douche. Like, he's just not a good friend. He's good. He's a good fellow, though. Zach, you're too nice. This is the problem. You're too freaking nice. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
My bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabel, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down and force enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture, the way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving an indulgent pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once, two things that rarely ever grace it, if he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I have my camera with me, dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
Girl, you stand your ground and you tell him no.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
He's such a dick.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking! Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here!
These two, whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. I get you, Zach. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better and I'd have an overactive imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such. Okay, you guys, I'm going to end this here. We're going to finish continuing and catching up on this chapter. In the meantime, may the Lord bless you, may He keep you, may His face shine upon you and give you peace. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!